What is today? June 26th at about 11 o'clock or so. I am not having a good day. I'm not having a good day so far. I'm late, just got out of the shower. Hair looks horrible. Just not having a good day today, guys. We're going to start the real show, or I don't know, I want to say a real show, but we were going to start this whole thing where I come on Monday through Friday. We kind of do a little hour or two. I was going to make it earlier, like 9 or 10 o'clock. And, you know how things come up. I don't want to be a jerk. Okay. I really don't. And I don't think I am. I think I'm a sweetheart. But have you ever realized that, especially lately, like it seems like there's no jobs here. There's no jobs in America because they're giving them to everybody from overseas. Because I just spent an hour and 10 minutes. I spoke to two different people about a bill I owe. Shocking. Yeah, I know. But it was so long because they don't speak English or they don't understand what some of our terms mean. And I guess when you talk to somebody like me who uses a lot of slang, and well, not slang, but you kind of say like, oh, what's that about? Oh, and they're just totally like, what does that mean? You're like, well, it's just a saying. It's like kind of saying like, why? I didn't say why. I said, what's that about? So I was on the phone for about an hour and a half trying to get this thing done. And they just couldn't understand my question. Like it was a simple question. And it took that long to get an I don't know. That's how we ended the phone call, because I just said, look, I'm real late. I got to go on. I was supposed to be on at 10, and now it's 11. They didn't know what I meant with that either. I just figured, hey, then since they weren't paying attention anyway, I was just throwing stuff in anyway. But hey, good morning, Ed. I see Ed's in the chat room. Everybody, if you're listening on the other platforms, remember, go over to YouTube, Renegade Radio Boston, and you could join the chat room there. They got a little video thing, which I hate, by the way. I hate being on camera. That's the difference between John and I. John loved being on camera. Me, I don't like it. And I think a lot of what it is, too, is have you guys ever heard of dysmorphia, like body dysmorphia, something like that? Because it's like they say, like when people like lose weight or whatever, they still see themselves as being extremely heavy. I've lost weight. I've seen it in like my clothes, the size of my clothes and all that stuff. And yet I look in the mirror or I look at this stupid camera and I see the same guy from 5 years ago. I see like, holy crap, all that work, all that friggin' time, all that sweat and not eating the stuff I wanted to and doing the stuff I wanted to. And I look in this thing and I'm like, you're fat. And actually, I weighed myself today. I started out about 2 years ago, right? And what inspired me was John and my son, Junior, because John was heavy. He was a heavy dude. Not fat, but just heavy. Junior, same thing, not fat, but heavy. And both of those guys lost like 100 pounds. Like just, it was incredible because they said, well, I'm tired of being fat. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do stuff and whatever. So they kind of inspired me, but I'm not getting the same results. It's incredible. I look at my son and I think, you lost half a person. Where'd you go? Today I hit kind of a weird milestone because my goal was, well, what happened was I went to the hospital and they weighed me. And like I had weighed myself in years, and I just thought, I'm chubby. You know what I mean? I'm just a little chubby. And they put me on a scale, and it just, I think it was almost 300 pounds. I think it was like 298, something like that. And I was like, holy geez, Louise, how did I get this big? So I decided I was going to start walking, and I did that for like a year. And then John got me into lifting weights, whatever. So today I weighed myself, and it's been, I'm going to say about a year and a half, maybe two. Well, the goal I set was I wanted to be 220. So when I was 298, I wanted to be 220 because I thought that's what I weighed in college. Then I got to 220, a little while ago. And I was like, you're still fat though. Like, how am I hitting the number? But so I set a new number. The new number is 200. Now today I hit a little bit of a milestone. First time, I think since high school, I'm like 211.3. I looked in the mirror and I still have a gut. I'm still like gushy. Like it just bothers me. I feel like, why am I bothering? And by the way, my hair's wet. Looks horrible on this guy. This camera's really bothering me. Boy, I got issues. God, I have issues, don't I? Like I got mental issues, I think. But I think. But it's funny. And Ed says you can see it. I appreciate it. By the way, I'm not fishing for a compliment. I hate when people do that. Oh, I'm fat. Especially growing up, a lot of heavy girls. Oh, I'm fat. No, you're not. Yeah. Do these pants make me look fat? No, your ass does. But it's just, I'm not doing that. I swear to you, I'm not doing that. It's just, I literally was looking in the mirror while I was on the phone for an hour and a half being irritated because I'm brushing my hair and doing all that stuff. And I'm like, you literally look the same as you did, 2 years ago. This is incredible. Now I could see minor differences, but what a pain in the D. You know what I mean? You don't know hours. Especially in the beginning. I was going for 2, 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was killing it, man. And I mean, and when I mean killing it, I don't mean doing good. I just mean like killing myself. I was friggin' always hurting. I couldn't sleep. Like everything hurt all the time. And it is what it is. But he says, put on a pair of your old pants and you'll definitely notice. Well, I did, and well, that's the thing too. My pant size back then, I believe, was 44 to 46, something like that. It was pretty big. I'm wearing 33 to 34 basically right now. So I know that there's a difference. My shirts would double extra large. Now I'm wearing large. You know what I mean? And these are kind of big, but they don't make me look good. And that's the thing too. I think it's funny. You think, oh, I'll wear something that fits because everybody's like, you don't wear anything that fits. You wear something that fits. I'm like, well, it accentuates the fact that I'm fat. All right, I'm going to get off that for a minute just because I got mental issues, everybody. But yeah, I had never really heard about that. I'm going to get off that. Let me add to it. I never heard about that dysmorphia thing, and I was reading about it, and it's crazy. I was thinking that's not real. I mean, I've heard of it in my life, but you're thinking that's not real. That's silly. And then I heard my son talk about himself, and I'm like, whoa, because he's doing the same thing. I'm fat. I'm like, dude, you don't even have an ounce of fat on you. I do. He doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't. I have the dysmorphia. He doesn't. Wait a minute. He has a dysmorphia. I don't, is what I meant to say. Because I mean, he's thin. He's muscular. He's thin. He looks great. I still have a belly, and it might be because I won't do sit-ups and crunches and all that. I hate doing core exercises. I don't mind lifting. I don't mind doing cardio. Any of it. Just the sit-ups or that horrible machine. Anyway, let's see. It says, you already said that. I mean, I already said that, Ed, not you. All right. Well, once again, rambling. I haven't slept, everybody, in 3 days, just so you know. So might be a tad out of it because of just some personal issues. Then on top of it, I'm watching. I thought I was watching Russia fall for a minute, and then you're thinking, well, this is a little weird. Did you guys hear about that whole coup that went on? I guess you had to if you had the TV on at all. Well, not really. Depends on which station you were watching. But I watched because I figured people like CNN, MSNBC were going to be so happy. Because they hate Putin. He's the devil and whatever. Who knows? And they were saying he's over. It's done. It's going to fall. And then I think it was like 12 minutes later, they had to say, well, the resistance stopped because they didn't want any more bloodshed. Now, I don't know what kind of a resistance that is. I think the information we're getting obviously is not real. One, it's coming from the Kremlin. Two, it's going through our news. So there's no chance of getting, the real news or the real story on any of this. So I guess what they were saying was, that, Putin, what he did this morning was, it says Putin's defense chief throws curveball after Russian warlord demanded he be ousted. That's the thing too. I guess the warlords, which you have warlords working for you, there's going to be issues. But the warlords were saying they weren't getting enough like ammunition and supplies and all that stuff. That's why they revolted. Have you heard any of this anywhere? You know what I mean? Like I know on the liberal news, they've always been talking about how the Ukraine's kicking the snot out of Russia. Then you find out that's not true. And then on the flip side of it, you find out that Russia's not doing all that well either, even though they're being funded by China, North Korea, and Iran. So that's kind of a weird thing. But this morning, once again, they were saying a Russian defense minister made his first public appearance on Monday since the mercenary revolt demanded his removal on Friday. The defense leader was seen in a video inspecting troops in the Ukraine, and armed rebels used the Russian city, and appeared to march unopposed toward Moscow over the weekend. It was unclear when the video was filmed. That's the other thing. They showed them marching, to Moscow, but nobody knows when that was going on. It's so sad. You can't believe anything in the news anymore, especially ours. You have no clue. But anyway, I guess they were showing how, these guys took over a city. They started marching towards Moscow, and then for some reason decided they didn't want any more bloodshed. It was over. You know what I mean? That's it. So, Ed's saying he hadn't heard of it. Yeah, a few people haven't, man. Like, it was on the news and off pretty quick. I mean, I think it's a pretty big story. They were also talking about how, Putin got in some plane with his cabinet and took off because, he's afraid of being overthrown. Like I think it was a lot bigger than, a bunch of dudes walking through one city, you know what I mean? And revolting. I think that there's something going on. And don't those guys have access to all the weapons? That's a nuclear country. Like that's you can't have it fall. That's why when I'm watching the news and these idiots on the left are cheering, what if the guy who comes in is worse than Putin, number one? But number two, you don't realize, again, China, North Korea, Iran are all about Russia. So if that fell, they are getting all those weapons. That it's not like they're not us. They don't leave weapons behind in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? They were going to take that stuff, especially nukes would have fallen into terrorist hands. That's how serious that was. Nobody cared. Nobody thought about it. But so that's pretty much what's happening. So right now, I guess Putin is kind of flexing his muscles. What they did was they're not going to prosecute the guy who led this, which I don't know if I'm buying that. And if you don't, what does that say? Like the fact that this guy's still breathing is kind of weird if you think about it. He led a revolt against a country. Look what happened for January 9th, or January 9th, pardon me, January 6th. They were, they shot Ashley Babbitt. Like this is crazy, and this guy was the leader of this whole thing, and nothing's going to happen. Like, or once again, we won't know if anything's going to happen. Just incredible, man. Just absolutely incredible. So I was watching that most of the week. Like I said, I haven't really slept in about 2 or 3 days. And that kept me up for a while. And then they were talking about a few other things on the news that I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way, but something I have, guys, I'm so sorry. We're getting a thing here on the computer. I think we're having technical issues. I'm going to have to stop this and fix something and come back. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Guys, hold on. And Ed, I don't know if you could hear me, but you're saying you wonder if it was staged. I would almost guarantee it was staged. You know what it looked like to me? I'm going to keep going just in case this is. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, but it looked like these protests that happen now around the country where they act like they're Nazis or they're white supremacists and all that. Over the weekend, I don't know if you saw, they had what they called MAGA Republicans versus ultra MAGA Republicans, and basically what it was Nazis versus skinheads, basically. And the one side was going after the other, and the news anchor, of course, who do you trust? Which side are you on? Just absolutely ridiculous. All right, Ed's saying you guys can hear me. I'll stay on, I guess, for a little bit, but I don't, everything here is kind of frozen, so I don't know what's going on. I can see the chat though, so that's good. Everything else, like the camera, the mics, all that stuff, seem to be effed up, but we'll see. Hey, you know something? I blame John. I saw him just come in the chat room. I blame John because he could have fixed all this, everybody. He just decided not to. But yeah, I don't know. I think especially with what happened over the weekend in Russia, that should scare the snot out of everybody, but they're past it already. But coincidentally, I will say this, and here comes the conspiracy theorist from me. Coincidentally, we did find out just over the weekend that Hunter Biden was texting a Chinese oligarch. I hate when they say that. Just say a rich dude in China with a lot of money, and was basically saying, look, I'm sitting right next to my father, and you didn't send the package or whatever they called it. He basically, it's the bribe. It's the money's not here. Where's the money, man? And he said, Hunter texted to this. What a dope. And he used like the WhatsApp app. He didn't even have like a government secured, nobody can hackers ever see this type of app. He didn't even have, what is that, Instagram, the one that everything disappears in 3 seconds or whatever that one is, or whatever that app was, it used to be. He used WhatsApp app, and there's copies of it everywhere. And he basically said, I'm sitting next to my father, and we're wondering where this package is. And then at one point, Hunter said, don't make me get all uppity. He's like, I'll show you what this guy, meaning his father, and his friends and I could do, and I hold a grudge for a really long time. So he is extorting the guy. He's threatening the guy. That came out, but at that time, that's when we were talking about Russia being overthrown. Okay. Then once again, once everybody kind of stopped, the news was a little bit old. It was almost a day old-ish on the Hunter Biden stuff, and we kept hearing more that I guess it's almost near 10 million they've tracked in bribes and all that. And all of a sudden it was like, all right, well, that Russia thing's over. Oh yeah, Vladimir Putin forgave him. They're all going to move on. They're going to be friends now. And actually, Vladimir Putin just moved him over to another country. Said, you run that one, I'll run this one. This is silly. This is just stupid. That's not possible. And if it is possible, the world is even stupider than I thought, because this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It just makes zero sense. I don't know. I think we're in a lot of trouble. This Hunter Biden thing is crazy. Think about just, this is how dumb what's going on is. Not 3 years ago, if any of these accusations were made about Trump, it would have been on the news 24/7. And that's not a what about Trump thing. That's a reality. If any, because you know why? Because there were every accusation. People that said he raped them, which obviously they all went away because it was lies. He stole money from painters and carpenters. Stupid. Just everything that he did was major front page news. Now you have, Hunter Biden's laptop, which has been authenticated. What her name? Ashley. Is her name Ashley? I don't know. Biden, the one who wrote the diary about her pops hanging out in the shower with her till she was way too old for it. That's been authenticated. Whoa. Imagine. Do you remember when Donald Trump at one point was saying something like, if this wasn't my daughter, I'd marry her, or something like that, because she's beautiful and smart and all that stuff. He meant it as a compliment. He didn't mean it creepy. But of course, the news had to flip it like he wants to sleep with his daughter. Well, now you have a daughter saying, my dad used to look at me naked and make me shower in front of him until I was way too old for it. And nobody's talking about it. Like, that's what. Come on, man. Like, this is how dumb they think we are. And actually, this is how dumb we are as a population. We're allowing this to continue. I don't know how you allow this to continue. Like, the hypocrisy of this is crazy to me, man. You know what I mean? Like, who has the balls? Like, you know what it reminds me of? I used to date this psychopath, right? And this was a long time ago, but she was a nut. I didn't know it at the time, and she was hot, so I kind of forgave it. What happened was she one time said to me, like, you're a piece of crap, right? So all I did was repeat exactly what she had just said to me. I said, you're a piece of crap, right? Almost like I'm rubber, you're glue, type of thing. And she looked at me and she said, how dare you call me that? I said, but you just called me that. And she's like, you called me that, though. There's certain people they're just so blind, to their own, ignorance or what they do. And they think that they're so much superior than everybody. It's incredible. It's absolutely mind numbing, and you have the Democrats now that literally, if there weren't one honest one amongst them, they'd be standing up and saying something. That's how you know the Democratic Party is even, well, I'm going to say equally as bad as the Republican Party. Because I think the liberals and the Democrats are just more visual with their stupidity. And, the Republicans sit on their hands. They show how stupid they are when they vote against themselves. I mean, I'm not saying you should ever vote party lines. I don't think anybody should vote party lines. I think you should vote, per topic. And is this good or is it not? Not, well, Republican put it up, so I got to get out of here with that crap, man. That's what got us owing trillions of dollars and then in the crap we're in. But instead of anybody worried about that, by the way, half the world now is not even using the US dollar as currency. They're switching over or have announced they're going to be switching over soon. I don't talk about that. You got literally a guy who's in the Oval Office that we have seen be inappropriate with children, inappropriate with women. He's pretty much out of it. Like, he doesn't know half the time if it's his wife or his sister. He doesn't know if, what side of the stage to walk to. He does that creepy thing. Where I don't know if you've seen it, where he gets T-Rex arms, like he pulls his arms up real tight to him, and then he kind of like does that old man where he's like all stiff, like almost like a rigor set in, and he starts just turning side to side, like, where do I go? Like, it's embarrassing. That's the leader of our country. We went from Donald Trump, who was at that G7, walked up, pushed that one dude out of the way, put his hand on his shoulder, pushed this man out of the way, stepped in front of him, straightened his jacket out, and said, "Cheese, take the picture." To this dope that has to be led around by the Easter Bunny and blind people. And when I say blind people, I'm not kidding. A blind woman led him off the stage the other day. Does the news talk about it though? Do you hear about it? I mean, you see it, but then it's a quick thing because what they like to do is bury it. Even Fox, well, actually, especially Fox now. Fox sucks. They'll play it, but they'll play it on an off hour. So then if anybody ever says, well, why didn't you ever talk about that? And they'll go, what are you talking about? We played that. Here's the clip of us playing it at 2:57 a.m. on a Saturday. The whole thing is crazy. And these people are allowing this weird administration where not only is he, creepy and kind of demented, you have a vice president who is so underqualified that it's just embarrassing. Like, how can you become the vice president of the United States of America and really be this inept? Because that's not the type of job. I figured that would be one of the hardest jobs to get in the world, not, well, she fit this criteria that I needed to check to get the left's vote. So, put her on in, kind of like the press secretary, who's horrific, but she checks off a lot of boxes, and people say, oh, you shouldn't say that. Well, why not? Because it's true. It's true. Are you telling me you think she's good at her job? Do you really think Kamala Harris is doing a good job? And if so, can you tell me anything she's done? I can't. Can you tell me? And don't give me the phony ones. Don't give me that she talked at a woman's thing. And I don't want what real accomplishments. What has she done for the country? Nothing. She won't even go to the border. because that would make her look bad. She's just a phony. We have such inept people. Like I said, I remember going for jobs, and even when you go for, like, let's say, a postal job, right? You have to be smart. And I know people goof on that, but the reality is you have to take a test, the whole thing. You have to have common sense. You have to be able to add. You have to be smart. And if you can't do it, you're not getting hired. But if you want to be the vice president and you're a complete babbling, cackling moron, go ahead. We'll get you. Yeah, why not? You know something? Too bad you're not, I don't know, throw another ethnicity in and maybe bisexual, because that really would have checked off a lot too. But that's what we have. We have Pete Buttigieg, which is, I mean, a transportation secretary that, I don't know, what have we had? Remember when all those trains were getting robbed of the Amazon stuff? I don't know, the bridge collapses, the food shortages. I mean, it's just everything. The guy's a failure. It's a colossal failure. And yet the left cheers them. Like, did you see on when Adam Schiff, I think it was last week, when they finally threw the dude out, like, it's about time, off the committees. You're just a douche, and we all know it. We know it because we heard the lies. We saw the lies. You were lying for years, and you're still backing them up. And then as they're doing this, the friggin' Democrats give him a standing ovation. Yay. Hey, you're the biggest traitor in the bunch, everybody. Look at this guy. This guy literally was the biggest lying sack of shit on the planet and scared the hell out of Americans and made them feel that their country was being taken over by Russia. And you know something? None of it was true. We all know it wasn't true. You know something? But he did it, everybody. It's like when they clap for, what was that, Roman Polanski? When a guy's a pedophile. And everybody's like, you know something? Look, I know the dude likes to bang kids, right? But did you see that shot in that one movie? Like, would you have thought of it? Would you have pulled back like that? And that's the excuse. That's the genius you're going to, allow to be touching children, because that movie, I've seen Roman Polanski's movie once. Actually, I think I did in school. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to venture it sucked. I don't understand, this whole thing where we bypass qualifications now for and actions and the things people do for certain things. Like, how come this Epstein flight log won't be released? Like, you release everything else. And where are the leakers, by the way? Remember in the Trump administration? Like, it was almost a bad joke. You couldn't do or say anything, and it would be on the news. Adam Schiff, by the way, when Donald Trump Jr. was testifying to the committee, would run during the breaks, would run down the hall. You heard it was his voice, and he would give updates of what was going on. That shouldn't be legal. He shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? But nobody cared. He was a leaker. And all that information. Now you have the biggest pedophile ring that ever existed on this planet, as far as we know. We got it. We got the head guy. We got the head woman. She's still in custody. You got all his stuff. You got all the flight logs. You got everything you need. Can we see him? Well, it's an ongoing investigation. What do you mean it's an ongoing investigation? The guy's dead. You already put her in jail. He's dead. If it's an ongoing investigation, I would like to see everyone on that list. And I don't care who they are. And, Trump's on there. Arrest him too. Arrest everybody just to talk to him. Bring him in. Say something. You do it for other reasons. Gestapo acting mugs. I mean, like, you really just bring him in and say, because I guarantee you, a guy like Trump, because you already see what he did after the fact. He's the one that got him kicked out of Mar-a-Lago because he was inappropriate with that girl. He's the one that encouraged that girl. And I like when people go, that's not true. You know something? It is true, and it's been true for a long. Like, this is what they do, which is crazy. Obama was a master at this. Like, you take the tape of I think it was the Pulse nightclub in Florida shooting, right? It was a terrorist attack on American soil, a targeted terrorist attack. I mean, okay, was it the size of 9/11? No, but they don't have to be. To have people live in terror. They don't have to be that big stupid. And the guy got on the phone and kept referring to Allah and, Islam and ISIS. And they had all that taken out. They've had it. And when he says Allah, they replaced it with the word God, right? Why? You know why? Because eventually, after a few years, the people that lived through it forget. And you go, remember when that happened? And they go, that never happened. Look, here's the tape. And that's what they're doing with everything now. It's everything now. And it's disgusting. I was listening to Jimmy Kimmel the other day come down on Trump and make these weird accusations about Trump supporters and all that. This coming from the man who, how many times did he go to Pedophile Island? How many times? I mean, and are you going to tell me that out of the, 200 to 300 people that we probably know of that went, all of them were ignorant to the fact that this guy was the head, pedophile king of the world? Come on. Even England did something. Remember when they kicked which prince was that? They kicked that prince out. Like, they didn't even give this guy a day in court. They probably, because as soon as that Epstein thing came out, they were like, you're out of the family. You get no money. You're out. I don't know why they didn't press charges. He should be in jail. I get all that, but at least they did something. We did nothing. We protect ours, which is sick. If you saw over the weekend, I guess there was a few pride celebrations. And once again, if you wanted to celebrate being gay, okay, but do you have to be in a thong to do it? You know what I mean? Do you have to have your junk swinging around kids to do it? Like, can't you just celebrate with like a barbecue or maybe a picnic? You know what I mean? Maybe a band, have a little fun, but you don't have to be dressed up in bondage outfits, or that new thing too, where the guys dressed like dogs. They're dressed like dogs. They're covered from waist up. Like, they're kids there. Who's bringing their kids? What parent, by the way, do you think is like sitting there on a Saturday and they go, I don't know what to do with the kids. I'm so tired of Chuck E. Cheese, man. I ain't even trying to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Hey, I hear there's a parade downtown. Why don't we just go to the parade? Poor bastards. Show up and that's what's going on. I can only say this from experience, because years ago when I was younger, a lot younger, I was in the Guardian Angels in New York, and we would patrol parades. It's kind of what you did. And the first time we did the Greenwich Village parade, and I don't know, I guess it was a pride parade before there were pride parades, but there's a bar there called, like, I think it's called the Stonewall or something. And it was like the first place where I guess gay rights, they say that's where gay rights started in like the 70s or whatever. So that's kind of like the mecca of that community there. And I didn't know. I lived in New Jersey my whole life, came from this suburb, and just kind of chilling with my friends. I knew obviously gay people and all that stuff. So when they said, you're going to the thing, I was like, okay. And I got there, and the first thing I saw, no joke, were these four really hairy fat dudes, right? Wearing the teeniest, tiniest thongs you've ever seen in your life, with tassels on their chest, and, being overly effeminate, whatever. And I'm thinking, well, is there like maybe a show? Like, maybe they're just going to a show. No, man, that was everybody in that friggin' parade. And there were people that had fake penises that were like, simulating sex on each other. And there were people really doing that all over the place. And I was thinking, this is like debauch, like this is crazy, because there are kids here. There are people in this world that decided, hey, I want my children to be exposed not just to sex, but to homosexual sex and real hard stuff where the guy's got a whip and he's spanking a guy. I mean, this is crazy, man. We live in a really, really sick time. Very quickly, I know I'm kind of backed up here in the chat room and everything, but if you want to go over, if you're listening on some other website or whatever, go over to YouTube and look up Renegade Radio Boston. You could join us there. I'm going to be doing a different page soon. I just got to figure out how to do it. I'm just too lazy. But in the chat room, Ed says, that sick bastard Biden is sniffing and fondling young girls in public, but nothing is said. That's true. Well, I forget the actress's name, real pretty woman, just recently. And when he goes to hug her, what he does, ladies, we know what we're doing. Just stop the crap. I mean, we're guys. It's a cheap feel. It's not appropriate. I get it. This is the problem too. Sometimes, like, if you would hug somebody, right? And I'm not saying you're molesting them, but you like put their hands on their waist, like, you kind of hug them. You know what I mean? He, on the other hand, it's not like a hug. He's groping, like he's kind of grabbing him and not letting him go, and like kind of like giving the old side booba a squeeze or two. Like he's a molester. Like my point was, I know as a guy being younger, like, you would hug a girl and like, I thought it was a big deal when you put your arms around her, like her hips or something. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, this guy is like, freaking smelling his fingers when people walk away. It's disgusting. He's really a creepy dude, man. Let's see. Fred in the chat room says, for the days of Cronkite, Peter Jennings, yeah, and Bernard shows went up to 30 minutes a day. We received an objective report of what was happening in the world. You know something, Frank? I don't know if it was objective who knows? Like that. Now they have me totally suspicious of everybody, especially like the older dudes. Damn, I could see his face. I think it's Dan Rather. I'm not sure if he's dead or not, but not the dead one. And he's kind of like a Dan Rather contemporary, if it's not Dan Rather himself. I'm just too lazy to look it up. But have come out against Trump and against, Trump supporters and MAGA and just saying stupid things. And you realize, okay, well, maybe the man himself is an idiot. Like he's very respected in the news community. He's like an icon. But as a person, he's just a moron, because when you think about it, they're just talking heads. They were guys with good haircuts that looked, professional and were just reading you the news. That was the gig back then. You know what I mean? There was no personality. You didn't care about their personality. They just had to look like they were, trustable, like, or honest, like you almost felt like they were your friends. Like, I could believe this guy. Well, I heard it. Walter Cronkite said, well, I'm not that old, but Peter Jennings said, or something like that. And you would believe it. Nowadays, you realize what a crock. Like, I mean, if you hear these people, just because when I got into, and radio is like literally the lowest rung on anything, if you even wanted to call it in the entertainment field, because no one else does. It's the lowest rung. And I have met people that are on the second lowest rung, which is like the news stuff. And what I realized is all you have to be is phony, and you don't have to have a brain in your head. You really don't have to have a brain. They don't want you to have a brain. I have worked, and I know a lot of people know what I'm talking about here. I have worked with people that have been, icons in this area in news. And to be quite honest with you, not that deep. You know what I mean? Like, if it's written, yeah, it sounds great. If it's not written, we might have some issues here. There may be some issues because, I don't know if they can't retain the information. I don't know if it's just they're so into their own persona and sounding a certain way and, doing that whole thing. It's weird, and I'm assuming, from this small scale that I've seen it on to, it just gets worse as it gets higher, I mean, that's why you're finding out like people like Matt Lauer. Remember when everybody loved Matt Lauer? Matt Lauer was one of those dudes that was like, I forget what show he's on, like every morning show, and like he kind of took over. I'm not going to say the same show, but that place of like a Regis where people just liked him. They trust him. Oh, Matt Lauer says, oh, what a good man. Oh, he's a good family man. Oh, and he's a good dad. All that nonsense. And then you found out what a creep the dude was. Like, he had a button at his desk. This shows you how much of a creep. Because I get hitting on somebody. You're allowed to hit on people. I know nowadays you're not supposed to, I think, and whatever, because everybody is just horrible. But you're allowed to hit on somebody. You're allowed to, and if they say no, well, you stop. That's how that should work. It shouldn't be, like if you do it, you're a dick. No, something. If you see somebody you're attracted to and you think they like you too, of course, maybe throw a little flirt out. You don't go and say nice cans. You do it. A little more respectful than that. But you figure it out. And if she says, well, I'm dating somebody or, or whatever, you back off like another human being would. These people, though, are just so, into them. Their power got to them so much that this man wouldn't do that. He would hit on you. And if you got up to leave, he had a button under his desk that would lock the door. Like, don't tell me that was just in case he was in a meeting with somebody. Get out of here. That's so the woman, because you heard stories of the woman saying, well, I tried to get out, but the doors were locked. And he wouldn't open them, and he was groping them. I mean, like, these people are pigs. When the Epstein thing first came out, and actually Hunter Biden's laptop first came out, you heard people that you respected. Now they tried to discredit them all, like Giuliani and people like that. But to be quite honest with you, if you want to be fair, if you go to the year before Donald Trump ran for office and ask anybody about Rudy Giuliani anywhere in the country, and he was called America's mayor. People loved Rudy Giuliani. They stopped loving Rudy Giuliani in the press when he said, hey, you guys are lying about Trump. You guys are making this stuff up about Russia. And by the way, I found this laptop and I saw it. And when he said, when he would talk about stuff, he'd say about the Hunter Biden laptop, it's disgusting. He goes, it's gross. He goes, like, you'll feel physically nauseous when you see some of these pictures. And then they release some of the pictures. And you know what he's talking about? It's pedophilia. I mean, it's just nobody really cares about a grown man with a crack pipe in his mouth. We've all seen that picture. I don't even care about the two hookers ones because they look to be over the age. I mean, you want to get a hooker, get a hooker. What do I care? You want to film it? That's your thing. Go ahead. It's stupid to let the pictures out, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe he wanted a sex tape and become more famous because he's kind of stupid. Even though he's the brightest man Joe Biden's ever met. Like, it's crazy that they did that. And then they did release a few of the one with children, and it was on Twitter, real brief. And then it said this violates like child pornography laws or something. Obviously it would, because he was molesting young children in the picture. So there's your proof. Now, if that proof is true, why is this man not arrested? Why are there no charges? Why is he getting, didn't pay the, IRS charge and the gun charge, where for some reason you or I would get 10 years in jail? No doubt, no doubt. I was told that when I went to go get my gun license, by the way, because they said, do you do any drugs? Well, I got a pot card. So yeah, I marijuana, it's legal though. Well, it's not legal. And I said to the guy, well, what if I didn't have a card and I still smoked? And I said, no. He goes, well, technically they would never know. He goes, but if you got caught, he's like, it would be an X amount fine and 10 years in jail. And they don't play. They throw you in jail. This is serious. This is guns. We're not playing around. Well, for Hunter Biden, he got 2 years probation. It's sickening, this whole thing that's going on. And then, like I said, when you see the amount of evidence that came out between his laptop, and then last week, I guess, I forget what they used to distract us last week, but that's when you found out, I guess that Biden, Obama, Hillary, who else was it? There were a few others. All knew. Oh, the FBI, CIA, all knew that the Russian dossier was fake, because they knew that Hillary paid for it to be done, and they also knew that the guy lied. That's why he would never testify or anything, and he admitted basically he lied. Um, yeah, they all were involved. So you found out that a sitting president, and vice president, and a woman running for president, who was a senator at some point, and the first lady, have all conspired against Donald Trump. Uh, yeah, it's no big deal though, because it's Trump. Who cares? Who cares? You know something? They were doing it because they was trying to save the country. No, they were doing it because they realized they had zero candidate that could go up against him because he was saying exactly what people thought. We're tired of open borders. We're tired of a bad economy, which we had under Obama. Don't give me this whole crap. It was great. I lived through it. But that's the more revisionist history. Where no, everything was great back then. Don't you remember how great it was during the Obama years? Remember when you tried to get? Remember when you had your own health insurance that cost you like $60 a month and it covered everything, and then all of a sudden, everybody got dropped and it came like 8,000 a year, or $8,000 deductible, and you're paying like 2,500 a year for it. Sickening. And then, but don't worry, you can get Obamacare. Just go on the website. That'll be easy. Go do that. They spent billions on it. It should work. Day one, it fell, and I want to take weeks to come back. Just stupid. It was all about money laundering. And now you see that they realize, well, if Trump gets in, he's going to expose this whole Ukraine thing. The Ukraine thing, which, by the way, like Rudy Giuliani had said, by the way, it's not just a Ukraine thing, everybody. This is what they found. They found that it's other countries as well. Ukraine is the big hub, but this is going on in other countries with the Biden family and and it's not just them. It's politicians. You're Once again, Giuliani had said you are on the lists that you're going to see and the names you're going to see are going to break your heart because some of these people you have loved your entire life. So whether they be stars or politicians or something you believed in or somebody you knew or whatever, and they're doing horrible, horrible things. Like I said, just over the weekend, we're finding out that it wasn't just Joe Biden or Hunter Biden; it's the Biden family all getting millions of dollars. Like I think I don't even know what the count's up to. Like, but it's around 10 million or more so far. And they're like, there's tons more. Well, this is just one. We got 9, 10 other of these things going on, and nobody is talking about it. It's sick. Let's see. I don't know. I'm a little taken aback. Once again, I'm sorry, guys. I don't even know if this is going through because the camera looks frozen to me. So I don't know. If it is, great. If not, sorry. We're going to be doing this now. I'm going to start the show. Today was late. Just like if you listened early, I had an issue on the phone that literally could have taken me. I'm going to say at maximum, I would say that phone call should have taken about 10 minutes. And it really did take about an hour and a half. It was incredible. Just so I'm not doing that anymore. So I'll probably be on it. Let's say 9 or 10 tomorrow. I'll take a poll. Like, what's better for you guys? When are you guys more available or want to hear like an hour of nonsense or hour 2 of nonsense? We'll do that. But yeah, and hopefully I'll sound a little bit better. I know somebody said I sound sleepy. I am exhausted. I literally have not slept in days. Tired as hell. And you know, that's about the end of that sentence. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really not sure as far as what's going to happen with this whole country, man. Like that we are in a lot of trouble, and the fact that you can't acknowledge it. And I was thinking, they're trying to take, I guess, AM radio out. I guess they're just saying like, look, it just sucks. And I get it. I get that the FM is obviously a lot better of a signal, and the internet and satellite, and I do get it. But the premise of AM radio though always has been like an emergency type of thing. If there's ever an emergency, because the way it bounces around, it's easier to get whatever. I mean, or longer range rather. But it is what it is. But also, it's become the only place there can be an opposing viewpoint. Because if you listen to regular terrestrial radio and you listen to FM radio, well, first off, most of them don't have talk, but if they do, it's not really conservative. And then the stuff they consider to be conservative nowadays really sucks. Like, I mean, I like Tucker. I do like Tucker. I think the guy's got balls, and he does expose some things. But, I am so tired of Hannity. I can't with this guy. I just can't. I like Jeff Cooner, and I could deal with him, but it's the same thing every day. You know what I mean? Over and over again. It just, and this whole me, I'm important. I do get it. But when you start putting yourself in the same, class of people that they're out to get, like Michael Flynn and Jeff Cooner, Like I just don't see, I don't see that, personally. I'm not trying to take a swipe at my buddy Jeff there, but I just don't think you're that high up on their list. Um, but you can't if you go to the AM now, a lot of it's either foreign language. If there is talk, it's going to be, I'm going to say, mainstream media type stuff. So it's not going to be totally left. Well, it is left leaning, hard, but it's not total. They try to sound like they're not as corrupt. And then you'll have a few conservative stations, but unfortunately, they're playing Hannity, which I can't take this guy patting himself on the back for everything and irritating. And then everything with him is always a conspiracy. Everything is always, it's like, listen, man, just take a breath. You know what I mean? Like, I understand what's going on, but you're not helping because I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. Oh, just enough already. I think there needs to be a show out there where like people can actually, say, kind of like we do here, like, like what is going on? Like, that's a little weird when you think about it. And when you ask a question of this new press secretary and she just gets nasty with you or tells you to shut up, it's like, is that really the answer I expected from the White House? Is that really the professional answer I thought I was going to get when I asked Jean-Claude, whatever her name is, a question? And she does it all the time. She did it the other day. Somebody was saying, "Hey, did you hear the WhatsApp app with Hunter and the millions of dollars?" And she was just like, "What is? You want to believe that stupid? What is?" That's not the answer I was expecting. I really kind of was expecting something with a little more thought, but I'm kind of silly like that. All right, guys, something? I think I am going to wrap it up. I'm sorry I was late today. Like I said, let's shoot for 10 o'clock tomorrow. We'll do a 10 o'clock show tomorrow, and I promise I'll be more prepared and well rested. So thanks for joining. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to start some new pages. And if you could join them and then you could follow along, and I'll just start posting stuff about this there so I don't mix it with all the renegade stuff. All right. So once again, thank you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.